Welcome to this episode of the Limitation is a Mirage podcast. On this episode, I have Anil Desai. Anil is an actor, a comedian, and an impressionist. On this podcast, we talk about how he got to where he is, where he actually is, so what movies he's been in, what TV shows are coming up for him. We actually go a bit deep on it as well. Because of lockdown, we start talking about human nature and how we can try to just improve ourselves and be better. And something that came up a lot was that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you should try to make that situation better by you just being there. And I really love that idea. As well as that, he throws in some different characters. So some of my most favourite actors and people that I really look up to in the world appear on this podcast as well through him. So I know you're going to enjoy it because I love doing it, and I will speak to you on the next podcast. Welcome to this episode of the Limitation is a Mirage podcast. On this episode, I have the amazing... I wasn't expecting him to move. I have the amazing Anil Desai. He is a comedian, an impressionist, a pop doll, just an all-round amazing guy. And I would just love to welcome him onto this podcast for everyone. Everyone will cheer and clap whenever you pop into the shot. So, Anil, would you like to give us a little intro into who you are and what you're all about?
Hi, I'm Anil Desai. I'm a pop doll. I was born in Australia, and as a pop doll. And geez, I'm really nervous. I've never done this live. Cause yeah, you know what? Cause you're not the real thing, buddy. Right? You just come over here. This guy. Hi, this is me.
I thought I was going to be
This is actually a pop doll of me.
I thought I was going to be able to hold a straight face the whole way through that, and I could not.
Well, you see, this is every episode's got to be something. You got to have a challenge, man. That's how we get better at things, right? So, thanks so much. Hey, look at that! This channel ain't big enough for two of us, man. It's like Batman and Superman. I'm like the Batman guy.
Definitely look like the Superman guy.
Yeah,
I think I was saying this to you earlier. I think that's when you know you've made it in your industry. Whenever there's a doll of you. But I think that's it. So
yeah,
for anyone that doesn't know you, what would be the best way to describe you? Or what is it that you actually do day to day?
Well, in normal world, I was day to day. Well, I'm an actor, comedian, impressionist. So day to day, I'd be doing gigs, doing filming something or whatever, and impersonating, being somebody else is what I was doing.
Which is kind of what an actor... you're like an actor within an actor. You're an actor, but you're an actor who impersonates other people. Like acting Inception, would that be? That's basically
acting
what you do.
And...
Acting Inception, like you're...
Acting is... Yes, man, that's it! That's great! Acting, I'm an Inception actor. What does that mean? That means I play actors within actors within actors. And do you know where you are? I have no idea. But that's right. I grew up watching film, so much film, that I fell in love with that whole thing of film, the escapism, the entertainment, the everything to do with film. And I just wanted to be an actor in films. And being born in London and growing up in the UK, in the 80s and 90s, they didn't make that many films per year, maybe 12 films per year, and there was no way I was going to be cast in them because they just didn't make films with anyone of my talent. You thought I was going to say skin color, didn't you?
I did a little, but
no. There was not many parts for me back then, man, and they still aren't now. But and then I started doing comedy, and I always did impressions as a kid just to goof about as a party trick. But I ended up doing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe a few years back, and one of the sort of taglines was, I always wanted to be in the movies, but that never happened. But now I have all the movie stars in my own show, and I did a show where I played about 60 different movie stars that I interact with, and awesome. So that's kind of like the actor Inception thing, man. That cool. As an impressionist, I mostly impersonate famous actors rather than just... I can do lots of others, but because I love films and cartoon stuff. That'll be my main.
Getting into impression, was that something Because you said you used to do it as a party trick. So is that something that you didn't know was going to be a big thing in your life? You just
Not at all, man. And what it made me realize was that it's the thing that you could first do well. That's going to be your thing that makes your life, I think. You know what I mean? So you clearly were a weapons expert when you were looking at your background there. Like this kid played with knives, and then one day he grew up and goes, "I'm that guy." You know? So, I mean, you can see, like, I've got different movie stuff and kind of pop culture stuff, and this little guy was made. This guy was made of someone from a comic book store came to see me, and he also made pop dolls. And he saw my gig in Australia, and then I went to visit. We did a podcast at his comic book store, and then he made me this, man, and I was like,
That's awesome.
"What? That's so cool!"
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from. But yeah, what was the question?
We were talking about whenever you started as impression. So a question that I thought there now was
Party trick.
Yeah,
it was a party trick, man. I did it to disarm the bullies. I did it to entertain friends. I did it to attract girls. I did it to liven up the party. I did it to be, I'm the crazy guy that people go, that guy's crazy, or it just shakes things up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In an atmosphere where you go, we need to shake things up. And I was that guy, and so often I'd be holding court in the kitchen or in the staircase or wherever in a house party, and people would be like, come and see this guy, you know. And I never did stand-up, but I loved comedy. And I never thought that when I did comedy that I would do my impressions with my comedy, and that would be the thing that changes my life and my profile and gives me what it's given me, you know, since I did that. It was so weird because I went, well, I should have started this when I was 5. You know, why did I wait until I was 30?
What was it that,
You know?
what was the transitional, did anything happen? Was there anything that kicked it off where you were like, or did you just get the gig and think, fuck, I don't have my material, I better come up with something?
I didn't get the gig. That's the thing. I was in a place where I kind of had lost everything, or kind of nothing was working. The agent I had at the time had retired and stuff, so I was without an agent. I was in a long-term relationship that ended, you know, and she moved country and whatever. And so lots of things happened to me. My parents' business, which was our sort of lifeblood and all that, which I grew up and working in there, and they had a restaurant business. And all of that, everything. So they retired, that closed down, and everything had changed. There was a lot of different adversity to deal with, and that's when I realized. And I'm not a guy who's going to go and get a 9-to-5 job. I've tried it. It's not me. And I'm so grateful that I have a life that I didn't have to go through that bit for too long. I tried it for long enough, and I went no. And anyone who goes out there and does that, more power to you, man. You think doing comedy in front of people is hard? It's no. Going on a commute, 9 to 5, day in, day out, week in, week out, year after year.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? You have my utmost respect, because I cannot do that. I am useless at that. Anyway, so I knew that I had to do something different. I wasn't getting the acting castings because I didn't have an agent. The comedy gigs were a shit fight because everybody wants to get the gig. And I started watching the sort of more circuit, the veteran comics on the circuit, guys who'd been around a long time, and they had sort of signature sort of things they do, or sort of trademark, something that they did that you went, that's the guy that does that. Nobody else could take it from them, you know, whether it was a routine or a clowning thing or whatever it was. They just did something that if I had thought about them, that would be the thing I'd remember them by. If I didn't remember anything else about them, I'd always remember that bit. And so I wanted to create something with what I was doing that would be something that only I could do and no one could take away from me. But if anyone thought of me, they goes, that's the guy that does that, right?
Yeah.
And so my friend suggested, he goes, why don't you do your impressions in your stand-up? And I went, well, who wants to see impressions? I don't like watching impressionists, you know? And he said, well, you're very good at them. And he goes, you should share them because, you know, when you have shared them at parties and stuff, people love it. I went, yeah, but this is a paying audience. You know, people at a party, that's one thing, you know. But and he said, well, look, man, he goes, I reckon just give it a go. And I said, okay, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it in the way that other impressionists have done it. I wanted to do something different. So I was writing out all the impressions I could do, and I thought, well, let me see how many I can do and do well. And whilst I was writing this list out in a notepad, there was a stack of playing cards on the desk. And I kind of kept looking up at the cards and was writing. And then I kind of I got over 50 in the list. And I knew there's 52 cards in the pack, right? And I went, well, wait a minute. If I can put these names on those cards and then do a deck of cards, 52 impressions in, say, 5 minutes as my finale to my stand-up routine of do a 20-minute set, you do 15 minutes of, hey, my name's Anil, Anil Desai, that's Anil, A-N-I-L, Anil, Desai like Desai or Desai, that's how I told you to remember it. You know, and a lot of people come up to me to go, hey, you got a porn star name? And goes, yeah, it's Anil Desire and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, all of this stuff, right? So and that's just the joke stuff, right? And then you go, but I know what I'm going to give them at the finale. I know that 5-minute bit I'm going to do at the end. They can't see it coming because I've not even teased them with an impression. And then I drop that in at the finale. Because I'm going to leave you with this. And then I do that. And they go, and I was getting standing ovations everywhere. People went, they'd never seen anything like that. They'd never seen a guy. They'd seen people do impressions. They'd never seen a guy do 52 really good impressions back to back within 5 minutes. It's about one every 6 seconds, right? Yeah. Just, you know, and they'd time it. The audience would time it, so they'd get involved in the excitement of it. Is he going to make it? Is he going to do it? You know, and the MC's calling out the cards, boom, and they'd shuffle them, so I didn't know the order, so it wasn't rigged. You know, so it was a whole thing, and and that changed everything. That when I did that live. And it was filmed and up in the Edinburgh Fringe, and they went up on the company's YouTube channel, which is a massive corporate company, and I got over 200,000 hits in a month, and I'd never had anything online, and I didn't know, and people from around the world were watching it, but then the phone started ringing, and promoters had seen me that year, and bookers had seen me that year, and I started getting invited. Are you the guy that getting calls from Singapore? Are you the guy that does that 52 impressions in 2 minutes thing? Yeah, it's actually in 5 minutes, but that's still impressive. Can you come to Singapore to do that? What, just for 5 minutes? No. You do like a whole hour. An hour? I've only got 20 minutes, right? But then I realized that they wanted me to do a show, and they were like, this guy's the guy that does that. So then I turned that 5 minutes into a 55-minute thing with that many impressions, interacting, and wrote more jokes per impression. So then they'd be on stage for, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. There were 4 or 5 of them at the same time interacting. But that changed everything. And again, I did it true to my own self, my own creative integrity, and my own sort of vision of how I wanted to do impressions. If I wanted to be an impressionist, I didn't want to be a copycat of all the other guys that came before. Some of them were great, and some of them were just really hacky, man. But I didn't enjoy watching a lot of them live, and I just knew I wanted to do something different. And the way I made it different was because I trained as an actor and had an acting coach, and I came up from doing theater, and so I was good with stage space and all of that, and then muscle memory and expressions and emotions and kind of finding little nuances. As a demonstration, I'll just give you a little run of a few back to back, so you see, like Chris Walken has this thing where he talks in a way where punctuation goes out the window, and he gets a little high when he talks. He gets low when he gets angry. Takes his time. You don't know what he's going to say. Unlike my friend Bob, who doesn't say much at all. You know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. What I gotta say, Liam? You know me. I know you. What do you want me? Al, you want to do this? I'll tell you what. I'll talk for Bob. Bob, very monosyllabic. Not a guy with words. Not a great date. Hey, that's not true. I'm a great date. Are you? Are you a great date? I'm a great date. Says who? You've been single for 10 years. Ooh. Why are you busting my balls? Why are you busting my balls here? You guys, come on, relax. We're on a podcast show. So that's a little demonstration of, thanks, of, so the little sort of gestures, the quirks, the nuances, the expressions, the physicality. I could do that because I come from an acting background, and also of just absorbing and observing these guys for years since my childhood, man, watching movies. And before we had all the amount of content we have now to watch from the YouTube channels and Amazon and Netflix and all that, we used to have 4 TV channels and a VHS player and one video store in the town. And you'd basically just watch your one video as many times as you could before you had to take it back, right? Or you'd video something off the TV like a movie, and then you just watch that because you didn't have many videos and there wasn't much else to watch. So I watched things repeatedly for a long time when I was younger and just took it all in. And then one day I was like, I can do De Niro, I can do Pacino, I can do... Yeah. And they were all in me, and they all came out of me, and then I put them all in my show, and they helped me change my life. So weird, right?
The physicality makes a massive difference. Like, I've performed for years as well and been around different comedy clubs and comedians, and I've seen impressionists who do impressions standing, just nothing changes, and then
just their voice, they're just working from here. Yeah.
Whereas, when you turn into the character, you turn into the character. So that wee monologue, you did give me 2 questions. One question is, can you do the Christopher Walken Irish accent? Because he couldn't.
This is very topical, man. Yeah. This is recent. He's done this film. What's it called?
I don't know. It's about 2
some Irish film that's come out. And Christopher Walken, he's doing an Irish accent. Let me try it, because he's got this thing. He talks in a way, I'll be the ghost of your father. Man, like, what are you talking about? Could you believe it? I don't know. I'm doing Walken's gestures with an Irish accent. Yeah. Just trying to get Walken's accent and then putting a terrible Irish accent on it. Oh, it was terrible. If you saw the trailer, I think everybody in Ireland saw it, right?
Yeah. Everyone's been up in arms about it.
To the point where they put it on the news.
Yeah.
There are some guys made this film that's coming out, right? But don't be fooled by it. None of these people are actually Irish. I mean, come on, man.
One of them's Northern Irish.
Huh?
One of them's from Northern Ireland. One of them's from about an hour and a half up the road from where it's filmed, and his accent still sounds terrible.
Right.
But it was just so bad.
It's one of those ones when you hear the bad accent from one actor who's a name. Everyone else's accent then falls down, even if they're from the place. You know what I mean? Like, like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins was the classic one. And then you go, well, anyone else that's doing an English accent is now going to sound like they're not. They're going, why has everyone got a terrible English accent? Well, Dick spoiled it for everybody.
I love this accent, though. To be fair, as an Irish person, I was like, that's how I want my English people to sound. I want them, Mary Poppins. I want that. Everyone to sound
in the same way that the rest of the world goes, oh, I want my Irish to sound like diddly diddly do. We all want the Mexican to sound like these, but they don't all sound like these. That's the stereotypes that we have. Yeah. That there's some parties in the world that are trying to get rid of these stereotypes. And I'm going, but we need those, man.
Yeah, that's what you expect.
That's your baseline. Yeah. That's your baseline, and we evolve from that. If you just dissolve that, if you get rid of that, where do you reference? How do you reference a culture? From the flag, the food, like.
My second question of your monologue was, can anyone do a decent Robert De Niro without the face?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good question.
Like, I've
No,
never
I'm
seen
not
it.
sure. I'm not sure they can. I think maybe, you know what? I think very few people can do that. Not
You
many.
can see it
Even,
creeping in as you.
I know it's creeping in because it's part of it's muscle memory, man.
Yeah.
And it's and certain impressions that I do, the face has to uh, become that person for the voice to simulate to come out,
Yeah.
right? So I did it once where I was doing Homer Simpson. So I was doing like Homer Simpson, but then the next impression that they called out was De Niro, but I was still Homer Simpson. But then I started talking like, "Are you talking to me? Woo! Wait a minute, I got the wrong face on. Are you talking to me? Well, if I was doing Robert De Niro, I'd be Homer Simpson's voice. Hey, what's going on here? I'm watching you. I'm watching you." And it gets really weird. And then it becomes funny. And in
Yeah.
that moment, I found that I found it funny, and from the magic of that thing that I
Yeah.
was doing just by accident. And so now I can use that, and I started using that in my shows as well to play on, where I go, that's normal, that's normal. But what if we have like a body swap,
Yeah.
or a voice swap in the wrong body, and then get out of it as well and get back to what they're supposed to be, And that was tricky, but I did it. I got a big round of applause on that. So
I've watched a couple of your videos where you're doing the different impressions and people are reading the card.
yeah,
One of the things I love as a performer is when you have to say to them to read the next one because they're just so sucked into what you're doing that they
right.
forgot their job. They're like, and then you're like,
I
just jump in any moment, and they're like, oh fuck,
Well,
I am.
yeah, especially if it's against the clock,
Yeah.
because then you go, you're killing my time, but just by being mesmerized. You're not allowed to be mesmerized. You can't enjoy the show. That's the audience. You're
Yeah.
the guy that's going that, right? So I next. I gotta, yeah. That was, yeah. There were some nights, man. I was going, come on, man. But
But what I love is you stay in character, whatever character you are at that moment. You
yeah,
like,
because I don't know who's next, so
yeah,
I can't. If I transition to becoming Anil, being myself, before they call the next thing, I've wasted seconds, man.
yeah,
I'm trying to beat the clock here, so it's easier to morph from Richard Dreyfuss. Like here's the thing. Oh my God, I'm so goddamn frustrated all the time. And then Jeff Goldblum. Oh well. Here's the thing now. Rich, just if you try and breathe, that might help right there. But I don't know who's coming next. And you say Jack Nicholson, and I'll be damned. Well, isn't this quite the night? You know what I mean? And but if I go from Jeff to being me and Neil and going, give me the next one, and he goes Jack Nicholson, then I got to become Jack. So I've already,
yeah,
and also for the audience, they start seeing flashes of me appearing, which kind of breaks the illusion and that bombardment that I was giving them of seeing Kermit the Frog, Nelson Mandela, Robert De Niro, Matthew McConaughey, Morgan Freeman, Al Pacino, Jim Carrey, Austin Powers, Captain Jack Sparrow, and just they were like, what? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Whereas if I got in between them, that would break that thing that I was,
Yeah.
you know.
It's gonna
Yeah.
break the cycle and the illusion of because like
It's like when you go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say like we were talking about the facial when you do the character. Like I know you and I've seen you in real life do it. You turn into the
Yeah.
person and you're like, so if you did that in between where you were back to who you are, it would ruin that for me. I would imagine I would be going
Right.
But whereas
Yeah.
whenever you do, even when you've done a couple on the podcast now, you're like
Yeah.
you change into the people. So
Yeah. It's like when you watch like the fireworks display, and you go, "Hey, it's the big fireworks display," and then they go pop, 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 and then there's a break before the
Yeah.
next sequence of fireworks, and then you go, What you want is 20 minutes of pop, 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 and then it's done.
yeah,
You don't want to go, "La, hey, that's great, woo, pop, 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 pop." Oh, there's none.
yeah,
There's a. You don't want that. You just want to go, "Oh, wow, what? Oh my God, wow, oh, this is amazing." And then it's euphoric and you're elated and you're just like, you're high at the end of it. You're buzzing, you're buzzing. Everyone's buzzing,
yeah.
Natural, man. Just, create the magic,
Have you always
So
had this energy? Like you're very animated when you talk about things and you get going. Is that something that's always been there in you, or have you had to work on that as well?
no, I only do that on podcasts, man. I'm normally very quiet and still. I'm serious. No, that's not nothing I worked on. I was a really shy kid uh, in my school day. Say really shy. Yeah, I was shy. Uh, and then I don't know. I think breakdance happened. We had hip hop music arrived in the 80s, and I got into that with a few friends.
Can you break dance? Is
And
that what you just are telling us now?
yeah, and I got into that. We had a crew and everything, right? And
Cool.
we could do all of the the body popping and stuff, and right. And it was just, but that really came. Dancing came out of me like it was. I broke my shell there, man, and I love dancing. It was the freest thing. It still is. Dancing is the freest thing you can do in your life, man, and it costs nothing. And don't give a shit what anyone thinks. Just feel the music and
Yeah.
your own beat and rhythm, and just go do whatever you want to. Make shapes, do a routine, do the things you've seen, do whatever you feel, man. And when you do it and you commit to it, it's just you. There's total freedom and abandon there, man, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I did that with these kids I was growing up with, and then and that kind of took me out of my shell. Um, and then I could also do impressions, and I was kind of the class clown guy. But then something I think I used to wear glasses, and then I met a director who said, "Do you always have to wear your glasses?" And I said, "Well, if I want to see where I'm going and not fall off the stage, especially when they have a blackout and the scene change, and
Yeah.
you go, nah, I need to know where I'm going." He goes, "Well, that's a shame." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, because if you're doing a classic piece like Shakespeare or something," he says, "your glasses are a
Yeah.
bit modern for that." I went, "Yeah, I never thought of that." He said, "Why don't you get contact lenses?" I went, "I don't know." He said, "What? Have you tried them?" I said, "No." So I tried them, and that opened me up face, like so. I was like
Yeah.
behind the glasses. Suddenly, this kid came out, and all the
Superman,
girls were
Clark
like,
Kent.
"Hey, who's that guy?" Yeah, very Clark Kent. And then I honed my superpowers until I was ready to share them with the world, and the world uh, gave me back a lot of you know life
Whenever whenever
and
you talked
love.
about acting, then is it what have you been? What did you be in that people would have heard of? There's a few different shows that you started
Jeez,
out in that.
my first TV acting break was in. I was the main guest featured character when in an episode of The Bill, the cop show back in the 90s. That was my first TV break, and that was great, man. It was a good bit of drama. I went on to do another couple episodes of The Bill a few years later. From that, I played a lead character in a guesting in an episode of Doctors. Um, I played support characters in various comedy shows from with Stephen Tompkinson and Mr. Charity to Barbara with I forgot who played Barbara. And then I got a break in Goodness Gracious Me. I did that comedy series for BBC, which won heaps of awards.
Yeah, it was great.
And that was my first time working on a comedy series and on a series with a group that were been around longer than me, more experienced. So they were the guys. They were the new hot thing, and I was the up and coming kid working with the new hot thing. So they're really protective of their thing because it's theirs, right? And they want to
Yeah.
get their break and get their moment. And I'm there coming up the ranks, but they got me on because they needed another guy to kind of be the sort of foil and stuff. And I was like, it's a gig, man. I'll do it. And it was a great break. And and I learned a lot from working on that show because then after that show was over, I created my own sketch group with two other guys about
Cool.
the kind of sketches and the comedy that I wanted to create. Having worked on that show, I was like, I like some of it, but it was very cultural specific. It was kind of
Yeah.
like an Indian version of the Fast Show, as best way to describe it. But I'm coming from the sort of pop culture interest in growing up in the 80s and, comic books and movies and all of that. And I wanted to, and using impressions, create a sketch group where three guys doing impressions could create this stuff and, do like movie spoofs and all of that stuff. And we went off to Edinburgh and did 5 pretty successful years up there with our sketch group. And then I went solo, and then I became Anil Desai and did my own shows. So I debuted my first solo show in 2009 in Edinburgh, which was the one with the 52 cards, the Stand Up Chameleon. The Stand Up Chameleon. And along the way, I'd done like TV films and other sort of things, and I've done a lot of theatre. I did heaps of theatre, man. I think I did a play every year for about 20 years, man. At least one play a year, from when I started back in 93. Yeah. So, but I was like 17, 18 or something. I dropped out of school to do this, man. So I'm glad it's working out. Yeah, some of my parents, they were like, all right, we'll come and watch you, but get a real job. I'm going, no, but that's the thing. This is the job. But my mom's like, yeah, but you really should have been a doctor or a lawyer. I went, Mom, I'm an actor. I could be an astronaut, a doctor, a lawyer, a fireman, a police chief. I could be anything, Mom. She goes, yeah. How about you be a guy that gets a real job?
Yeah. It must happen to everyone that parents, I know they're just worried about this, but when I said I was going to be a martial arts instructor, they're like, all right, what else how are you going to live though? And you're like, that's how I'm going to, that's my plan. Then
how are you going to live? Yeah.
That's generally the way it goes. Then my plans all changed. I was in 2 plays in my life. One, I was, what was I? I was a West Side Story. I was some guy in West Side Story. I was the guy. Who are you? I have no idea.
Were you one of the Jets or the Sharks? You must have been a Jet.
I was tanned, so whatever. I had to wear
Sharks.
tan.
You were one of the Sharks, man.
Shark,
the Latinos, the Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
I love that. The film of West Side Story is still one of my favorites to this day. It's just amazing. Well, the choreography, the score, the everything. And I've seen it live on stage as well. I have friends in it. It's great, man. Sorry, the bloody fan heater's just gone on. I always dreamt of being in West Side Story, and I was never in it, and I just love it, man. It really is something special.
I stumbled into it. I'd taken my sister was applying or auditioning for it, and I was there. And
right.
One of the casting people
Classic
were like,
story, man.
Are you
just
auditioning?
Happened to be there. Hey, your sister's all right, but what do you do? Me?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. Yeah. Come here. You look good.
It was actually funny because I got my letter before my sister saying I got the part. I was like, uh-oh.
Don't tell her.
But even on the first day, they were like, everybody's obviously watched West Side Story, and they went to talk about it, and I was like,
yeah.
No. Same as the first time I did extra work was on The Fall, and they were like, obviously everybody knows the story, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Yeah. I went up for a casting it was one of those, it was for Uber Eats or something, and it was sponsoring Love Island. And a girl went in before me, and she came out, and I said, how'd it go? And she goes, I think I screwed it up. I said, why? She goes, well, I don't know who the people in the script are. She goes, I've never seen Love Island. I went, did you just tell the casting director that? She went, yeah. I went, oh. So then this girl's leaving, and I was going, and the casting director comes out, she goes, so before anybody else comes in, can I just check that you've all seen Love Island? Because if you haven't, I'm not going to see you. There's no point, because you don't know who the characters in the script are if you've not seen it. You know? So I was like, yeah, I've seen it. I'd only watched 2 minutes of the trailer on the way to the casting. Because I'm like, when you got a job and you don't know what the product is or the thing is, just do a bit of research, man. Just go, okay, that's that. I get it. You know what I mean? So you got to know something before you get into the thing. Otherwise, you could be in deep water or not even get seen, man.
Yeah, well, I would have done that.
Luckily, I got that job because I'd seen Love Island.
You should go on Love Island. That'd be next. You could
Huh?
get on. You could get on Love Island. That could be your next.
No, never. I hate reality TV shows like that, man. I think they fuel the stupidity in society. You know, if those shows were gotten rid of, and you replaced those shows with shows that were about evolving, developing the human psyche, your mind, your inner self, doing shadow work, doing, looking at all of these deeper, more philosophical ideas, and those were turned into reality shows, people would suddenly start watching them anyway because that's what's on,
Yeah.
and then they'll get into it, and then they'll learn stuff, and then they'll get better at being human and better at being themselves, you know. But when you start continue feeding them stuff like Big Brother and Housewives of Manchester or whatever the hell, man, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, what the hell are you? What is this, man? Why?
Yeah.
What people go, oh, but it's great. It's just like, no brain TV. Yeah, yours, the no brain is your bit. You have no brain that you are sat there with your microwave meal watching this shit, and it's like fucking, it's just television, man. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and watch it and get in a trance that you don't even know you're in and lose an entire weekend. And you go, well, I just binge watch. Now, consciously, if you're binge watching something like, I don't know, Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones or something, you're consciously doing that because you're interested in that thing you're watching and you want to get into it and,
Yeah.
But sometimes, man, it's another Food Network show. It's another, bloody reality show about something, The Bachelor or whatever. I don't know what these shows are, but people, they exist because people watch them.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore, Guernsey, whatever, Geordie Shore. I don't know what the hell, man. The only way is Essex. And these people become celebrities, and then they take acting jobs in commercials. They take acting jobs in films. They get presenting jobs on TV and radio. And you go, but this was just a regular contestant that was in
Yeah.
a damn game, stupid reality show that you've now made into a massive superstar celebrity, and they have no talent. So
Yeah.
they either have to learn a skill or have charisma. Like Ryland was such a character that there was no way that anything was going to stop him being who he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was just that guy, and he got better at being that guy. And now he presents on radio. He's got his own TV show. He's in adverts and stuff. But he's got that personality. He's attractive. It's funny. He's he can be aloof. He can be quirky. He's nice, and all of that. So I don't know what his talent is, but he's good at being him.
Yeah.
He's good as a personality. You know what I mean? And that's what they're buying. But then there's guys like me. You train in something specific, and you don't get the job because some guy off a reality show who got famous for building a house got the job, and now he's a martial arts instructor that's acting in a movie with Denzel Washington, and you go, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how is that guy the guy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why aren't you doing it or me doing, And that's the bit that
I remember
really
growing
pisses
up,
me off.
like when we grew up watching TV, you're always told like you believed anybody could make it, but it meant that you had to work hard and learn skills and put in your time and do diligence. And now it's like anybody can make it if you can get on a show and just be a fucking cretin.
Yeah.
People will go.
You can go on a show, be a complete arsehole, and you'll get a job and a career in TV. And you go, what? But the guy was an arsehole. He goes, yeah, but people like watching an arsehole, don't they? Let's give him loads of money. It's like, okay, fine, great, do that. It's here's the thing though. It's not only about learning a skill or training in a specific thing. You got to know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What it also comes down to is attitude, right? Because if you go on stage and you don't have an attitude, or if you go into a meeting to get something, if you try and pick up a girl or a guy in a party that you meet or whatever, and you don't have an attitude, right? It's not going to happen. They're not going to be like, oh, well, she was interesting. They're going to be like, well, She was nothing, flatline,
Yeah.
right? So you got to have an attitude. And whether it's the attitude of being, I'm the cool guy, I'm the funny guy, I'm the quirky guy, I'm the a little bit kind of hyper guy, I'm the kind of laid back guy, whatever it is, have an attitude, man. Have that and go in with that and be the person that's that. Don't ever be needy and desperate for having that person say yes to you asking them out, or for them to give you the offer of the job at the interview, or for, you know what I mean? As soon as you're needy and desperate, the other side can smell it because they're human as well, right? It's an instinct thing, and they go, okay, this person's come in really needy, and that's a turn off like that. So just go, and the reason you're needy is because you don't have an attitude, right? Yeah. See, because if you have an attitude, what do you need for? Well, I don't need anything. I'll just have this. You go in with this attitude, you adopt that. Even if you have to fake the attitude, it's better than being needy and desperate and giving off that scent, right? So going with an attitude and apply some confidence. If you can find charisma, there's a shop you can buy charisma from, right? And confidence from. I'm not going to tell you which shop, but it's out there. And you get it. And you get these things. And you don't take any of it too seriously, right? So you lighten up as well. You know, like enjoy it. Enjoy that. Hey, you know what? I'm about to go to this job interview, and I don't know if I'm going to get it. I like it, but if I don't get it, whatever, man. I wasn't supposed to do it. I was supposed to do something else with my time, whatever. I'll find something else. You know, I really want it. I really need it. Do you, though? Do you? I've got a friend who's got a 50-inch TV, flat screen, 3D, HD, 4D, 4K, whatever the hell, man. And it's great. He said, come over, watch my TV. And I said, okay. So a couple of months go by, and I was away. So when I get back, and he goes, hey, man, you didn't come see my 50-inch TV. I went, I've seen a TV before. He goes, no. Don't worry about it. I got a new one. I said, what did you get? He goes, I got the 60-inch. I went, what was wrong with the 50-inch? He goes, it wasn't 60 inches, was it? I went, what? But it's still the same TV with the 4K Ultra and the H. He goes, yeah, but it's 60 inches. I went, how much do you need that? You don't. Yeah. You've just been made redundant, and you went and bought a 60-inch TV. I said, what'd you do with the 50-inch one? He goes, I put it in my bedroom. I went, that's the size of your bed. Like, you've got your bed and you've got a TV. He goes, that's why I stuck it on the ceiling. But my point is, people will think or believe that they need something when they don't need it. Yeah. But they really want it because they have no other options around them in their field of vision. They can't see anything else. Like when you watch these kids that they torture and humiliate on things like American the Britain's Got Talent and these shows like X Factor and stuff, where they go, oh, it's my only dream that I had, and I can't believe that I'm not going through. I'm so upset. And you go, what are you talking about? You're fucking 16 years old, right? Yeah. You're 25 years old. What do you mean that's the only? You didn't put all your eggs in the X Factor basket since day one, right? You put them in that basket since 3 months ago, and you've gone through the trials and you've gotten rejected. Get over it, man. There's other options, you know? Yeah. What are you doing, man? You know what I mean? This is so these reality shows really stupefy people, man. It's bad. It's bad for our health. It's bad for our mental health, and it's bad for our movement forward and our evolving and our development and all of that. People go, yeah, but you know, don't take it seriously. Yeah, but you've lost fucking weeks watching that shit, man. Yeah. And then you'll argue about someone with it at work. About that, rather than your own real life. You know what I mean? This is why I don't watch soaps. You know, because in soaps, what do you hear? Well, I thought that you said that, Kathy. Yeah, when I said you thought that. Oh, what you I still stop talking about? I don't know what you're going on about. Yeah, well, the problem is, right, is that you come around here and you don't say what you mean. Well, I said exactly what I mean. What the hell am I watching? I'm watching people having domestic back to back, right? When I go, haven't I got enough shit in my life to deal with? I got to watch other people having fucking bullshit going on. You know what I mean? And religiously watch that. I'm
just throw Dot Cotton into the middle of a rant?
Huh?
Did you just throw Dot Cotton into the middle of a rant?
You saw that? Oh, what you do, Monica? He's been a good boy, yeah. Nice one. High five, man. High five. You caught my Dot Cotton. That was a little flash of Dot Cotton jumping in there. Oh, where's me little Willie?
Kind of.
Yeah, you got it. Well, see, yeah.
I get passionate, man.
I'm very chilled. You know that, man. I'm a chilled, animated guy, but I do get passionate about stuff that I have issue with because I think the world's not going to change, right? We're not going to get better, right? Any of this living stuff until we change the things that we are being given, fed, or distracted by. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When you get rid of those things, then they don't exist anymore. And when they don't exist, your mind doesn't go into that place, and you don't go to that place. So your time and your energy and your thought doesn't go to that place. So
Yeah.
it's like my friend always says. He says, if you want to avoid a situation that can possibly happen, let's say you've been invited to a dinner party, but you know someone's going to be there that you don't get on with. Now we don't know what's going to happen, but to avoid anything happening in a negative way, don't go to the party. So you extract yourself from the actual environment that the thing can happen in, right?
Yeah.
By not being there, unless you are powerful enough to be in that environment and transform it
Mm-hmm.
into a positive,
Yeah.
which not everybody is. You know what I mean? So the way to avoid these mind-numbing distractions is to just go like the news, man. The fucking news. The news was on, bombarding us constantly. Pandemic, virus, COVID, masks, da 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 da. And I just went, what is going on? And my mind started going into every single thing that I heard was like fear mongering, right? I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, paranoia, insecurity, anxiety. And I spoke to a couple of friends, one in Australia and one in Germany and one in New York, and we all agreed switch off the news. And we switched off the news around early June, and I haven't watched it since. And my life has been more connected. I've been healthier mentally. I've been better. I've been creative again. I've been living. I've been moving forward. I've been, enjoying my time. Even if we're in lockdown and stuff, man, I've been able to deal with it because I don't have this harbinger of doom just constantly just bombarding me with
Yeah.
negative. This is how shit the world is. You're all good. You know what I mean? Like he said, and then he coughs at the end of that.
Whenever you're saying you've been more creative, is there anything? What have you been working on lately? I know you do a bit of stuff for Amazon TV and whatever. So
Well, we did. I'm working with a great producer at the moment, and he's one of these great guys who is multi-skilled in his arts of filmmaking. So he can direct and shoot and edit and everything as well as and compose soundtracks and stuff. And we shot a pilot for an idea of one of my impressions sort of sketches. But we shot like an episode of that, and we really like it. And we're developing a series,
cool.
which we're gonna put up on. He's gonna put up on Amazon because he's now. He's got 3 shorts on Amazon, and we just did a feature as well. So I did a short film, which is called The List, and that's up on Amazon now since last month. And the feature is called Once Upon a Time in York Street, and that's about a production casting studio in York Street in London, where a lot of the sort of auditions happen and meetings happen, and film deals and film pitches and stuff. And it's a feature film, and that's just gone up on Amazon last 2 weeks ago or something.
Cool.
So so those 2 are up there. You can anyone following or want to see my work can see me in those 2 things. My own YouTube
I'll
channel,
link
I'm
everything
just
and stuff below.
filming content and stuff. So I want to have enough stuff that once I put the channel up, then you go, okay, you can watch these things. Whereas if I put the channel up now, there's a few things, and then there's a lot of stuff that has been online already from other events and things that I've done. But I'm just creating my own content in the meantime. And then, yeah, man, just writing. I'm kind of focusing more on online stuff and film stuff because of the situation in the world, and I can't do the live gigs anymore and travel so much. So I'm just kind of going, okay, well, let's make a online series, write my film scripts, and then we can go out and shoot the films, and edit those. Even so yeah, it's kind of and that film is kind of my first love. So it's kind of getting back to and being an actor, and going right. What characters haven't I played that I want to play?
Yeah.
Before life is over for me. You know what I mean? You go, well, that'd be good. That'd be good. And you just write. I can write my own characters into something. Or work with people that know me that write a character that I go, yeah, that'd be great. And then my agent, I've got an agent as well, and she's fantastic. She's working hard, man. Big shout out to my agent, Alice and Chloe, and they're doing fantastic, man. Getting me seen a lot for a lot of things that are happening out there. So that's keeping me busy as well. I was considering learning a new language, and I'll pick up my guitar again and carry on learning that. And you're never too old to do anything. That's what I realized, man. You can just go. You can learn stuff if you're 75. So what's age got to do with learning something? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. When I have a Tai Chi
within
class,
reason, like.
My wee Tai Chi class, I always ask them if they didn't know what age they were, what age would they be?
Who, sorry?
My wee Tai Chi class, they all are like 70 and above. So I would have always said to them, like, if you didn't know what age you were, what age would you be? Like, age is, to me, it's just a number.
Right.
Well, I'm 78, but I feel like I'm 62. Like,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some kids who look, they're probably like 18 or 19, but they look like they're 40. Yeah. And you see some kids like that, man. You go, wow, you guys had it rough, And then some people are just born with an old face, aren't they? And other people are born with a really young face, and you go, what are you, like 30? And they go, no, I'm 90. And you go, how are you 90? Like, yeah. Like when I got to 38, I was like, I'm staying here. That's it. Now, I found my age. I found the age that I'm like happy staying at. So I've been at 38 now for I don't know how long it's been actually, but I'm 38. So
I was 21 for a long time, but then I went bald at 21, so I was like, that's it. I'm staying here. I can't age anymore. I'm already bald. That's enough. I'm gonna stay at 21.
Yeah, I have hair, but I'm also losing it. So it's
immortalized forever in your pop doll, though.
Huh?
Your hair is immortalized forever in that pop doll.
Well, back in the 90s, man, during those grunge years, I used to have long hair, man. To wear bandanas and what the hell were we up to? Jumping in a mosh pit to throw other people around. You okay? Yeah. You feeling good? Yeah, I feel great. You're psyched up to Rage Against the Machine? Yeah. And then you get to 38 or however young you are, and then you go, what's happening in the world? You go, well, they're still playing Rage Against the Machine on the radio there. What are we doing? Why? Well, because there's still a politic that we're fighting against, There's a system that we're angsty about, and, there's that's ongoing. There's some things that are just set where you go, no one's going to change it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people are like, vote Labour. You're like, really? Like, vote Conservative? Well, who gives a shit, man? No one's going to be happy about anyone in the helm of the ship leading this country into tomorrow, unless these parties like totally dissolve, and you just go, right, who wants to run the country for the betterment of the people tomorrow and the next day and the next year?
Yeah. Right?
And you go, yeah, I'll do that. And you go, okay, come on. What party you belong? What party? What? It's nothing to do with a party. Who cares what your party politics is? That's like reality TV now. It wastes so much of our time getting into it. You just go, hey, listen, man. When you guys transcend this idea that your faction's better than that faction, it's all nonsense. You transcend that and get to a state of going, okay, I live on the planet in this country with these people. How do I want to make it better? And let's find a group of people that I can get together with that also have ideas, and we can make it better. And let's just make it better, right? And you go, well, look, we're not going to get everything right, but we want to make it better. But the point is, these guys that are running the ship, they're not making it better. You know what I mean? That's the problem, man.
It's kind of what people like us do anyway, just on such a small scale. Like you created your own skit group, so people can watch things that are entertaining and good, and that have some sort of message behind it rather than just like doing nothing. I find a lot of people know that nothing can change or nothing can be done, but then they don't do anything. Whereas,
No, no, you have to still do something for
yeah,
yourself or your own habitat or your community or your family or whatever it is. Make you being on the earth should make the world better because you're here.
yeah,
That's it,
that's
right?
beautiful. Yeah, I
So
love that. Yeah,
whether you do it between you and your boyfriend, girlfriend, or whether you do it with your family or with your school friends or with your work friends or however you do what you do, make it better because you're there. If I get invited to a party, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go because I know I'm gonna make that party better because I'm in it. It's like when I get cast in something, I'm
yeah,
going, if they cast me in this play or this film, it's gonna be better because I'm in it,
yeah,
right? Because I'm gonna bring it, man. I'm gonna bring the goods, you know.
yeah. I remember.
What's it? The Breaking Bad actor. What's his name? The lead guy.
Yeah, and crit something. I don't remember. We should know it's
Why has
Malcolm in
it
the
gone
Middle's
out of
da.
both of our minds? Huh?
Malcolm in the Middle's da.
That guy.
Brian, is it a Brian?
Bryan Cranston, right?
Yeah,
He said, you know, the way he changed his acting career, he happened upon. He said, he goes, you'd always go to the casting where you get a call and they goes, we want to see you for this thing, Liam, and you go, okay. So then you're under pressure, and then you're like, oh, they want to see me. That means I've got to. Then you suddenly go, you create all these. You have this hypothetical projection of all of this ideas, right, of fantasy, right, where you go, well, if I get this, then right, and well, none of that's been actualized, right, because you haven't got it, but you're now acting in according to trying to get these ideal fantasies that you've just projected, right, into a fake future, or an unreal future, right, because you haven't got the job yet, because you haven't even been to the meeting, because you haven't even read the script yet. Right, but you've already gone that fast forward.
yeah,
And in the reaction to that, then doing the work, reading the script, learning it, you go in with a desperation and a neediness.
mm-hmm.
Because you have this fantasy that you're trying to capture, right? But that's all wrong. Because you're looking at getting that work in order to attain something else. So you're never present at the actual job itself. Because it's not about you doing the job, it's about you getting something from the job. So what you want to do, as Bryan Cranston was saying, he goes, so he started looking at it like he'd get a script or excuse me, he'd get a casting thing, and he said, well, what can I bring to this project? What can I bring to the table for this company, for these people, for this film, for this TV thing? How is me being involved in this gonna enhance it, gonna make it better? And when he started looking at it, rather than I need this, because he went, well, I'm an actor. I've got a CV. I've been around. I've worked. I may not be the most famous guy. This is pre-Breaking Bad. But you know, he'd been around, done the work, and he went. So he looked at it as an artist, as an equal, going, well, they're creatives who've created something. They're interested in me. Am I interested in them? Not just, ooh, I've got a call for a casting. I wanted to get the job.
Yeah.
I've turned down stuff where I've gone, the agent's gone, they want you for this. I goes, not interested. Why not? Well, you know, for whatever reason. I don't want to play another shopkeeper, or, you know, I don't want to promote gambling ads or whatever it is, you know, but I just, no, you know what I mean? So, so you can turn stuff down and have the integrity to turn stuff down. Have the faith that the other stuff will come along, man. But don't, so with that, you have some you know, some stance, man, some metal in you that says, well, you know what? I'm not desperate. If you introduced me to 5 girls and the first one said yes, am I immediately going to go, yeah, okay, great, let's get married? You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, well, okay, that's nice. Well, let's arrange a date. I've got 4 other girls that Liam's hooking me up with, and I'm going to see, you know what I mean? And maybe the one that I want doesn't want me. So what am I going to do? Force her to want me? That's not going to work out for either of us. So you know, so this forcing, this desperation, this neediness, this kind of these things that we we impose on ourselves, or we generate out of our projected fantasies, man. Quash all of that, man. Stop all of that, right? And just be real. Our friend Sam, our mutual friend Sam, said to me, he goes, always be present. If you're present, you can deal with anything that's happening, all right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a fucking heartbreak or a being fired or someone surprised you or there's an earthquake, you can deal with it because you're present. But if you're thinking about the past or the future, those are always tied with emotional states, because in the past you're thinking about, oh, that was a good time, I wish things were like that again, or I really miss that person, or in the future going, well, I hope this happens, and one day if I can do that, then I'll do that. And but they're both tied with an emotional state, which takes you out of your present state.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're thinking about the past, and then you get knocked over by a car, you can't deal with it and you die. Or you're thinking about the future, and then you get a phone call and your girl breaks your heart, and you go, what? Huh? What are you talking about? But I just had this future where we were. Nah, it's gone, mate. Be present. Just be as present as possible, and you can deal with anything. You know what I mean? So, so I digress. But it's bring to the table your own worth, to the party, to the dinner invite, to the weekend football match, whatever you're doing. You know, you're going to something. Someone's asked you to go to something, invited you to something, or you want to go somewhere. Even if you've bought tickets to go somewhere, go there and make it better, man, because you're there. You're here on this planet, man. None of us knew we were going to be here. None of us knew we were going to be here. None of us chose to be here. And we don't know when we're going to leave here, right? We all know, but we're going to leave some point. We don't know when. So whilst we're here, why not make it better, right?
Yeah.
Stop doing this. Make it this, man. You know,
That's
make
where
it better. Make the whole thing, everything, man. Just make it as good as you can. And if you find others to do that with, then you have a whole network. You have allies, like we know each other, you know what I mean? So I know you're out there making things better or being positive or trying to, you know, implement some ideas towards that within people. I'm trying to do the same, and you know, don't go out there and be a dickhead, basically, man. So between the arrival of you on Earth and leaving Earth, the bit in the middle, don't be an arsehole, don't be a dickhead, right? Just be fucking, you know, be someone I want to hang out with, man, that Liam wants to hang out with, you know what I mean? That we'd invite to one of our parties, man. Because look at my backdrop, look at his. We have fucking parties, man, you know what I mean? We're not guys that don't know how to party, you know what I mean? Like, shit, man. So...
yeah, I love that idea.
That's what I would say as my sort of, you know, mantra, or my word to the to those that might want to go, what's this guy talking about? Is he a comedian, an actor, or a philosopher? Or what the hell?
I think you're so creative in your mind that you get to the point where you have to be. Like, all of the best people, like if I use Bruce Lee as an example, he was just a martial artist and then a philosopher. Because when you start to live your life for yourself and you know who you are, you start to realize about being present, about just making things better. Like I remember being with one of my exes, and we were going to a party, and she checked my pockets before I went, and she was like, "Why have you a deck of cards with?" I know. She's like, "Why have you a deck of cards?" And I'm like, "I carry cards everywhere because
I gave them to Anil. He's working on an act." Yeah.
But I was like, someone will ask me what I do, or someone will know from social media or something that I do magic. And whenever they say to me, "Can you do magic for me now?" I want to be able to blow their mind, like, more than, I don't want to just go, I can do a wee thing, and I don't want to be here. Like, I just switch.
Oh, here's a card trick that every other magician at a party's done. No, I'm going to do one where there. What's that? Hey, how did that get it? That's not even your card, is it? No, because your card is in my girlfriend's purse, which I haven't even seen because she just bought it from Chanel. And it's what? How did he? What? You know? Yeah. Blow their mind. Blow their mind, man. Hey, people, this is what Liam and I are saying. Go out there in the world and blow their mind, right? Just blow people's mind by your everything that you need, right? In this testing time that we've been put through, where they've taken everything from us, taken our work, taken our livelihood, taken our social life, taken our intimacy with people, our family, our love, all of that, traveling. All of that, right? Take the going out to the movie, everything. They've stripped all that away and gone, now live, right? And this is it, man. This is where you just dig into yourself and make yourself that awesomeness and go out there and bring your worth, man, and just be like, you know what? Blow their minds. You know what? I don't have all the things that I've had for my whole life, that I've invested in, that I've built, that I've had this foundation, this crutch, and this safety net to exist on. All right. Now the world's taken that away from many of us, millions of us. So what am I worth? Well, I'll tell you. This, and you bam, you go out there and you bring it, man.
Yeah. I
Blow
love
their
that.
minds. That's
Brilliant.
it, man.
I think
Because
that's
I've
a good.
lost so many things in this time, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just went, okay, what is this? This is a test of going, well, what are you worth? Are you worth? Do I only exist? Am I only as good because I get the laughter from an audience night after night? Is that what makes me feel good? What if now you don't have that laughter night after night? Do you still feel good? No. Well, what's that? Why not? Why not? What's wrong with you? And it's that, and you know what I mean? Like discovering, can you exist without those things that you had? Yeah. I traveled to over 45 countries in 10 years, and I haven't traveled since March, since I got back from tour. And I miss it. I miss it a lot. But does it define who I am? No. You know what I mean? It's like, so don't let what they've taken away from us be the things that define you, because you're more than that, you know?
Yeah. It's like
you have to be. You have to be, man. We're all made of stardust, dude. Right? You got to be more than, I can't go and support my football team or whatever it is. I don't know what the hell people do out there in the world.
A lot of people hid behind their things, their stuff, what they did, whereas now we're exposed and we're left like, exactly. Like we're left now, like people would say to me, sure, not much has changed for you, has it? And I'd be like, what do you mean? I used to stand in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people. Like the biggest crowd I ever stood in front of was 100,000 people in Trafalgar Square. So like you're used to feeding off like madness or just going.
Well, we're social creatures, man. The energy dynamic has to be that. Yeah. As soon as you're isolated and divided, they've cut off our energy thread to each other. Right? So we lose that thing of going, I'm a bit low today, but Liam's here, so I can bounce off him and get charged up. But you're not here because you know what I mean. Everyone's isolated, so you lose that, and that's why. So it's a huge impact on mental health, man. Even people that weren't already having challenges with mental health are now discovering that, God, this is hemorrhaging them mentally. You know what I mean? And that's a really serious matter that is not ever highlighted on the news or even given a side column, man, to say, hey, listen, look, we know that we're in lockdown, you two, where the streets have no name, and things will be hard again, but be mindful of these things, do these things, and they don't, you know what I mean? Like they don't say, have this in your diet because this will help boost your immune system, right? And they could have been telling us that. So you got to go on these little sites and look for things and look for practitioners and people that have invested time and years in learning about what foods do what for your body and all of this stuff, And if you don't know, you don't know, man. You're still ordering McDonald's and Deliveroo or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go, what the hell, man? So
it is mad. I just love the idea that you're saying like now is a good opportunity to find out who you are and what defines you and what you actually like. How do you want to live whenever this opens up? Who are you going to be and how are you going to live?
Yeah.
Like what's your plan?
It's like when you go to a new country and you're going to be there for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. You go, I've never been here. No one here has ever met me. I can be anybody. And I do that every time I'm going to a new country that I've never been to, where I go, they don't know who I am. I could be anyone. But who do I want to be? I want to be this version of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can do it both ways. You can do it spiritually and metaphorically. You can be anyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but also if you wanted, you literally could be anyone.
Yeah, an arsehole. Yeah, but
you could be Dot Cotton. You could be anybody.
I did. I was at a house party where I got talking to someone, and they went, "So, where are you from?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm from New York." And I had them going for 4 hours that I was from New York, and I'd been to New York, and I'd spent time in New York, so I knew New York. But they also knew New York. And I was like, I didn't go up. And they were like, on the Upper East Side. I goes, I didn't go up there so much. Brooklyn. When you stay in Brooklyn, nobody leaves Brooklyn. Everybody comes to Brooklyn. What am I going to leave Brooklyn for? You know what I mean? And they're like, so where were you? I was in the Heights, Cabin Plaza, da-da-da. Name dropping all of this stuff, telling stories about things and that. And these people were like this. There was a couple, and they were like going, fuck, it's great, man. They go, so you were here? I goes, yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, just figuring it out, just on the road, the whole life's like I mean, for some it's a books, for some it's a river, for me it's a road, and I just meet people like you along the way, so I just figure it out, I'll probably write about it, make a film about it one day, that I'm just rambling on and I'm just having such a ball playing, improvising as this character, genuinely. And then one of the guy from the couple, he goes to he goes to the kitchen to get a drink with my friend, whose house it is, whose party it is. He is in there, and he goes, "Hey Tom," he goes, "You're from New York." He goes, "He's the most fascinating guy I've ever met." He goes, "My girlfriend and I, we've been sat there with him for a few hours, just hearing his stories." There, he goes, "What friend from New York?" He goes, "That guy Anil." He goes, "Anil's from Northwest London." He goes, "What are you doing about?" And then the guy comes and goes, "So were you from Northwest London?" He goes, "Yeah, sorry, man. I was just having a laugh." And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "You actually are English," because he heard me speaking my accent. And he was just, his mind blown, And he goes, "Why did you do that?" I went, "I don't know. I'd never done it before. And you guys are so enamored with me when I did an American accent. I didn't want to drop it. And then you disliked me because I was from Northwest London." You know what I mean? So I had like a insecurity, sort of complex there about going, "No, please like me." But that's, this was years ago. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, be who you want to be. Listen, unless they have another world war or another pandemic in a decade or 5 decades time or something, there is not going to be an opportunity like we're having this year in 2020, which allows us as a species, as an individual, to go into yourself, to learn and to figure out and to iron out the shit, the knots that you have in you, that have been in you since you were who knows when, right? And you can go in and you can untie those knots, man, and go, is that from when I had that accident when I was 14? Oh no, that's from when I was 21, and then I got in that fight with that guy, and then I got stabbed and he got stabbed, and then I got arrested and he didn't, and is that from that? And whatever it was, man. None of those things have happened to me, by the way. But it's just, find in your life where those knots are, because they're not in your head in the way that they're in your head, but they're also in your body. Right now, you're very body aware, and I have to be body aware from the acting work and stuff that I do. So, sometimes you get a twinge in your wrist or in your rib or in your shoulder or something. You go, "What the hell's that about?" And it pops up now and then. Why? Why does it do that? Well, people say, "Oh, I'm getting old." It's getting old, isn't it? Is it? Is it? Is it your diet? Is it that you've got some wounds in there, emotional wounds that have found a place to stay in your body that haven't come out because you haven't released them? But now, this lockdown, this pandemic, this year, is the time to get in there, man. And don't be afraid, because there's nothing wrong. It's all in there, man. It's like soup, it's just full of everything, man. And find it, and embrace it, understand it, learn it, kick it out, quash it, dissolve it, absorb it, ingest it, throw it up, whatever you have to do with it, just face it, so that when you come out of this, it's like a spiritual, conscious, internal cleansing of yourself, man. So when you come out, you're fresher, you're lighter, you're stronger. I promise you, you'll be stronger.
In my experience, fear comes from a lack of understanding.
Absolutely,
people are afraid of the dark because they don't understand
100%.
what's in it. They're afraid of looking at themselves because they don't understand what to do or what they might find. So
right, yeah, fear of spiders because you don't know how they're going to move, because they're unpredictable in their movement. Fear of communism, right back in the day when the Reds are coming, America, they were like, "Oh, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Where are they going to park, man? In downtown Manhattan? They come. What are the tanks are rolling in there? Are you kidding me? And like the Vietnam, going to Vietnam War. What was that? Well, we don't know what they are. Let's go and kill them. What are you talking about? You don't understand them. The Middle East. Let's go. They got weapons of mass destruction. Do they? Right? Would be you want to go and kill innocent people that you've never met. These are human beings, right? Like your neighbors, like your people that you work with, like that job interview you're going for next week where you've never met the guy, but suddenly someone wants to go and just kill them. You know what I mean? What that
yeah. And they're the
madness,
same people
man.
They're the same people that wouldn't look at themselves to better themselves and improve themselves.
Right.
I'm very I'm very conscious of your time. I just realized how long we've been talking. I've been loving the
I don't
conversation.
know how long we've been talking, man. How long have we been talking?
About an hour and 10 minutes, roughly. So,
well, it's your podcast. How long is your podcast show?
I aim for anywhere around an hour. Depends.
Right.
But like because it's not an interview-esque podcast, I end up just getting sucked into the conversation, and then I go, "Oh, I've been talking for a long time." So I'm gonna round it up, and then because we could end up talking for hours. So
we can, man. But look, we can do another episode in a later date. Like
I was sort of pushing for you to say it, so I didn't have to say it. But that sounds like a good idea.
I just did a podcast earlier today. If comedians rule the world, and we did an hour exactly, and he wanted 45 minutes per episode, and he goes, look, man, it was happening. It was great. He said, if we want to do more. I said, I'll just come on another show later on in a later date, man. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a podcast. It's not like this is television. It's transmitted. These are the 6 shows we're doing this season. Yeah. And it's like, it's like, hey, you're doing a podcast. Well, just drop in. It's easy enough. You know what I mean? It's like, how long did it take us to set up? Like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So, it's great, Liam, man.
I'm going to ask you a
question.
I'll
let you do more of the talking next time, though. But then, I don't know. I'm the guest, so I feel like the audience want to...
The audience want the guest. I'm just there to facilitate and direct you and ask things that. But again, the thing is, it's things that I'm interested in, so I just like directing people towards that. Like my final question is always, if you had a superpower, what would it be? Like that's because I love superheroes, and I just want to know what other people's. So if you had a superpower, what would it be?
I always used to ask myself that, and then I realized that my superpower is that I can do what I do as an impressionist. It's my if I had a name as an X-Men or something, I'd be the chameleon, because I can become anybody, to a point, I guess, well, people that I like, I can become. People I don't like, it's a lot harder, because I'm very empathic as a person, and so if I like you, it's easier for me to kind of become that than if I don't like you, because then everything in my body is rejecting, going, why? And also, I don't want to promote people I don't like. People go, do you do a Donald Trump? I'm going, this guy needs more promotion. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't. And then my body feels weird for having done something that it detests. It feels, you know what I mean? It's like an ugly, like it's like the body knows, man. The body's intelligence is supreme, man.
Who do you like? Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite voice to do or impression?
It changes. It changes. When I was 5, it would have been like Kermit the Frog, because I could only do Kermit the Frog. But now I'm 38 plus. It changes. Recently, who have I been doing recently? I've kind of been playing between Bill Cosby, Matthew McConaughey, Eddie Murphy, and Brad Pitt a fair amount in the last couple of weeks. The Tiger King guy, did you see that Tiger King show? So I did a little thing. You've seen that, yeah? I did a little sort of mini series thing on IGTV. I'll pop that up on my YouTube. I'm gonna do a few more episodes though, where I kind of did like a Tiger King thing, and it's like, well, you know how things are. What the hell is this little doll doing here? Like a mini-me? Oh, man, it's so cute. Things like that. But there's certain characters that I like doing, or people that I like impersonating, because it brings out a side of me that makes me laugh and that entertains me, because I'm so bored of me as me, all right? Because I've been me for, So when I'm being someone else, then I get a lot of joy in this vessel that I live in. You know what I mean? So it's like I can walk around the house just being, I don't know, like Jack Nicholson, or, just be like, I could just be like Matthew McConaughey, man, and everything's all right, man. Yes, it's all good. So the thing is, don't stress about anything. I mean, look at these. You see these stress lines? I haven't even had Botox, man. All right, I'm just laid back. It's all good. And sometimes when I adopt the Matthew McConaughey, it makes me feel more relaxed and calm. It just levels off that extra buzz, that little spiky energy. Just go, hey, just take your time, man. You know what I mean?
That's brilliant.
But
Yeah.
it's that, and so that I have access to these personas of these people that I've never met, but yet I feel I am them when I'm doing it, has helped me to manage myself and
Yeah.
my life and my flow, man, my flow through it. If I meet them, and I have met some of them, I'm always grateful and appreciative and thankful to them. They think I'm talking about the work that they've put out. And I goes,
Yeah.
thanks for all your work. And they goes, yeah, it's great. And you go, yeah, you don't know. They don't know what they've given me
Yeah.
until they come and see me on stage and see what I'm doing and talking about. And they go, wow, like, you know, that's what I mean. Like they're all in my show,
Yeah.
like that's,
There's
and now they're all in my house. So I'm doing a series. So, okay, I'll give you a little. So the series I'm currently inspired by the idea of is it's called the House of Impressions, and it's basically because I live on my own in a converted warehouse building, and it's where all of my impressions live with me in my house, and so every day I'm just trying to do my life, but they're all in the way, and they're all actors with egos and celebrities with needs and stuff, and they're like, hey, Anil, there was cheese in the fridge. It's not there no more. Hey, man, that's because I made a mac and cheese, man. I made a mac and cheese for you also. You can have that. But kind of, hey, use my cheese in your macaroni. Good idea. Yeah, I put some jalapenos in there. I love jalapenos. They're the best, the best. Anil, I'm going to make some soup later. Can you get to the store for me? Why do I have to go to the store? Because there's a virus out there, and I might die if I go outside. I'm too old to go outside. What are you talking about, Morgan? Just go. You can go to the shops. Just wear a mask. I'm too old to wear a mask. Okay, I'll go to the shop. Anyone else need anything? Hey, yo, Neil, come on. You got to go jogging. You got to do, come on. You got 10,000 steps. You have to 5,000 steps. Come on, we got to get out there. Come on, you get the punch the bags. You get the pussy. You get the pump it. Guys, I'm not doing the gym right now. I'm going to Morgan Freeman's shop to get him some stuff for his soup. And then we're having dinner and we can do training tomorrow. And it's just basically I'm surrounded by all of my
yeah.
voices, my impressions in my house, and so I've got to work out how to film it during lockdown, but I'll make like a little web online series of that. So that's
I
kind of
already love it.
that's to come. And if you're watching this in 6 months' time, and that's not out yet, then I got distracted by something else. And who could blame me? I'm like 500 people in one. So
That wee bit you did just reminded me. There's a clip I love of you talking about whenever you were heckled.
oh yeah.
I I'll make sure to link it below. But like
Is that the
that's
one
what
at the comedy store? I
it
think it's at
was
the comedy store.
with Eddie Murphy and
Yeah. I think where's the which is it the clip at the comedy store
I think it is the Comedy Store. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's when I got heckled by a guy when I was in the middle of doing an Eddie Murphy impression, and he said that all black people sound the same. And it was really weird to hear someone say that in this time. It wasn't this year, it was a couple of years back. But to hear someone say that alone in the 21st century, I was like, what? And also a white guy saying that, and saying that in the melting pot of Soho in central London, which is where it happened. And I thought, what do I. And also, the show was going great. Everyone
Yeah.
else had been on before. It was great. I was doing great. And just for some reason, this guy just went that. But it gave me a signature routine, I guess, came out of it. Was I retorted to him from the Eddie Murphy. I remained on stage as Eddie Murphy rather than becoming Anil the comedian. Whereas if I just did stand up and he heckled me, I would have then continued being Anil and gone, yeah, well, your mother, but I'm just giving something back.
Yeah.
But because I was being Eddie Murphy and he said what he said, I stayed as Eddie Murphy. and then I slammed him as Eddie Murphy, and then every black persona, actor, whoever that I could impersonate or have impersonated at some point in my life, jumped out of me and just smashed this guy down. So when like Mr. T and Nelson Mandela and Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock and yeah, just one after another, man. Denzel comes out and just smashes this guy down, and I didn't know what I wasn't in control of that at all. I don't believe I was. I believe what happened was that I was affronted by something racial for the first time, but also racial in a bigger sense of of the politic. Also, I'm in control of, and I'm powerful right now on stage because I'm being solid. I've got 150 people loving what I'm doing. I'm doing Eddie Murphy, which they're loving. One guy feels he can throw a spanner at me at this point. Brave guy. I didn't know what was going to happen. And then what happened. I'm very organic as a person, very empathic, organic, natural in that unfolding. And they would the guys, like I said, you can say a name and the impression will just jump out. They're always there. They're ready. You know what I mean? And these guys just jumped out without me thinking who or what or when or how I was doing what I was doing. And I did it. And I got a standing ovation. Everyone stood up. That guy sat down, became so miniature, smaller than this guy. And he was like this guy, but really, he was this big, right? And then he became this small by the end of that. When I slammed him, he was that small.
Yeah,
right? That you
it
still
was
see him,
brilliant.
right? That small. And I went off stage, and the MC was Neil Henry, magician. You know Neil Henry?
Yeah.
And he, very good friend of mine, and he wrapped up the show, came backstage, he goes, "Mate, that was amazing. When did you come up with that?" And I went, just then on the spot, like I got heckled, and he goes, "You got that?" He goes, that. He goes, "You have to write that down." And I said, "Well, I don't remember exactly what happened." He said, "Well, you did this, and then you goes, oh yeah," and then I said this, and then we wrote it out. And I went, he goes, "That you have to do again." And but that was a reaction, a spontaneous reaction, in a confrontational situation between a heckler and a comedian. You don't turn that into a bit,
Yeah.
but I turned it into a bit, and then it became my sort of signature bit, which. Yeah, I'm very, and if I ever met that heckler, I'd say, "Hey, remember that time when you're going to be like, yeah, I'm really," he'd be like, maybe it wouldn't be a sis more, maybe he's grown a bit, man. "Yeah, I'm really sorry about that." "Yeah, well, you know what? I just wanted to say thanks." "What for?" "Well, mate, you gave me gold dust."
Yeah, it's brilliant. I'll link
Yeah,
it in the bottom as well.
yeah,
Uh,
cool.
I'm gonna round it up. So where do people find you? Where's the best place for people to follow and
So I
find
live
you?
in North London, next to Hornsey train station. If there's any single ladies, I'm a good cook and a good dancer. And you know what they say about good dancers? If they dance good, they're going
And you
to
can.
tear up the dance floor in bed.
I
Um,
think if you're on the lady hunt, you need to be looking at a Tom Hardy. You need to get a Tom Hardy going.
what, wear a mask? This is
But
okay. Here's my impression of Tom Hardy in Dark Knight Rises. "Hi, I sound like a Mexican Sean Connery." Ah, okay. Here's my impression of Tom Hardy in Mad Max. "Rrr, you girls sure you want to go the right way or the wrong way?" Here's my impression of Tom Hardy in Dunkirk. "Yeah, well, I'm going to say all the guys are on the beach are going to say to play. Hey, Tom Hardy, how about you don't wear a mask for a role that you play, huh? How come you've always... Here's Tom Hardy in Venom. Like, what the hell's going on? Why is Tom Hardy covering his face? Is he so ashamed?" Tom Hardy, yeah, he's a good actor. Girls don't fancy Brad Pitt, Tom or Matthew McConaughey anymore, or
just just seems to be Tom Hardy seems to be everywhere. But I do find it weird
really?
that they cover his face or like in Venom they made him use a weird, terrible accent when he did get to
Even
speak.
in the Revenant, man, he's got like a scarf and a beard, and he's kind of covered up, and he's kind of like, and you're going, "Well, I know what he's doing. I know he's trying to play characters that are that makes it look like he's a good actor, you know. But he's just a face mask wearing cover actor.
Prepping for 2020 this whole time.
You saw me say that. You what?
He was prepping for 2020 this whole time.
Yeah, that's it, right? That's it, man. Prepping for 2020.
So where do people find you? Where's the best place for people to follow and find you?
Yeah, okay. So on social media, I've got the same handle for my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, which is at Anil Desai Comic. And you can message me there or follow me. I'll be posting more stuff up. I've been busy the last few weeks, so I've not really been on social media so much. But when I am, that's because I'm working on stuff to put up on social media. And once that's rolling, then you'll be fine. But yeah, come and say hi, man. Whatever, if you enjoyed the podcast, Liam, thanks so much for having me. It's been great, and thanks. Been really enjoyed hanging out and
very welcome.
Sharing my getting a load off my chest, man. That's what you're good for, because you're always calm and tranquil. You're like, that's great, Anil. But like, here's another thing that I really think about is and you're always on that, and we're on this like and you'll always come back to, yeah, that was really interesting. So another question that I have is, but it's great. So thanks for having me, man.
You're very welcome. Thank you again. I loved it. And everyone who jumped on, thank you very much. And I will speak to you again on the next podcast.